Let me ask you something. You've been eating well. You've been trying to move more. You're doing all the right things, but the scale won't budge. Or worse, it's creeping up, and you're starting to wonder if something is just broken inside you. I want you to hear this clearly. Nothing is broken, but there is something you're probably not looking at, and it starts the night before. I'm not talking about your midnight snack. I'm talking about your sleep. Because what's happening, or not happening, while you're lying in bed at night is directly controlling whether your body holds onto fat or lets it go. And most women have absolutely no idea. So today we're going to get into the real science of why poor sleep is one of the most underrated reasons women can't lose weight. Not the surface level, get 8 hours advice you've heard 1,000 times. The actual hormonal, biological, neurological reasons your body fights against you when you're sleep deprived. And what you can actually do about it tonight. Let's start with something I want you to think about. Have you ever noticed that after a bad night of sleep, you're not just tired, you're hungry? Like ravenously hungry? And not for a salad. You want carbs, sugar, something satisfying. You want it fast, and you want a lot of it. That's not a lack of willpower. That's your hormones doing exactly what they're designed to do. And here's the kicker. Your body is doing this on purpose. When you don't sleep enough, two key hunger hormones shift in a way that makes weight loss nearly impossible without addressing the root cause. The first is ghrelin. That's your hunger signaling hormone. After a night of poor sleep, your ghrelin levels go up. Your body is literally sending louder, more frequent hunger signals. The second is leptin, your satiety hormone, the one that tells your brain, okay, we're full, we can stop eating. After bad sleep, leptin levels drop, so you're getting stronger signals to eat and weaker signals to stop. This isn't a willpower problem, this is a biology problem, and no diet in the world can override hormones that are working against you. But wait, it gets more complicated. Let's talk about cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone, and your body releases it when it's under stress. Here's something most people don't realize. Sleep deprivation is a form of physiological stress. Your body doesn't know the difference between I stayed up watching Netflix and I'm being chased by a predator. Both trigger the same cortisol response. When cortisol is chronically elevated, which happens when you're regularly not sleeping enough, your body shifts into survival mode. And in survival mode, your body does something very specific. It stores fat, particularly around your midsection. That belly fat that doesn't seem to respond to anything. For a lot of women, cortisol is driving it. And here's what makes it a vicious cycle. Elevated cortisol at night makes it harder to fall asleep and harder to stay asleep. So you sleep worse, your cortisol goes up, you sleep worse again. You wake up exhausted, your hunger hormones are fired up. You eat more than you meant to, you feel guilty, you stress out, and that stress raises cortisol even further. Round and round it goes. Now let's talk about insulin, because this piece often gets overlooked. When you're sleep deprived, your body becomes less sensitive to insulin. Insulin is the hormone that helps your cells absorb glucose, sugar, from your blood. When your cells stop responding to insulin efficiently, your blood sugar stays elevated. Your body pumps out more insulin to compensate. And one of insulin's main jobs? Telling your fat cells to store fat and not to release it. So after a night of bad sleep, you're not just hungrier, your body is also more likely to store whatever you eat as fat and less likely to burn it for energy. You could be eating the exact same foods as someone who slept well, and your body will process them completely differently. This is why the women who message me and say, I'm eating so clean but I still can't lose weight. Often when we dig deeper, they're sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night. Sometimes less, and they've been doing that for years. There's also what happens to your brain when you're tired, specifically the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and long-term thinking. Sleep deprivation literally impairs its function, which means your brain is less capable of making thoughtful food choices. You become more impulsive, more reactive. That bag of chips is going to win over the apple when your prefrontal cortex is running on fumes. Studies have shown that sleep-deprived people consume anywhere from 300 to 500 extra calories per day compared to when they're well-rested. Over a week, that's up to 3,500 extra calories. That's the equivalent of an entire pound of fat from sleep alone. And here's the part that really gets to me. We live in a culture that almost glorifies not sleeping. Hustle culture has convinced so many women, especially women in their 30s and 40s who are juggling careers and families and everything else, that sleeping less is somehow a badge of honor, that you're productive, dedicated, driven. But your body doesn't see it that way. Your body sees it as a threat, and it responds accordingly. Now let's talk about something you can actually do, because I don't want to leave you feeling hopeless. The good news is that the sleep-wake connection works both ways. Improving your sleep is genuinely one of the most powerful things you can do to support fat loss, and it can start working faster than you'd expect. Here's what I want you to focus on, starting tonight. First, protect your wind-down window. Give yourself at least 45 minutes to an hour before bed where you're not staring at a screen, not scrolling, not answering emails. Your cortisol needs time to come down before your body can shift into sleep mode. Bright screens, especially the blue light from phones, suppress melatonin, your sleep hormone. Even dimming the lights in your home an hour before bed can make a measurable difference. Second, keep your blood sugar stable before bed. This one surprises people. If your blood sugar crashes in the middle of the night, your body releases cortisol to bring it back up, and that can wake you up or keep you in a lighter stage of sleep. A small, balanced snack about an hour before bed, something with a little protein and a complex carb, can actually improve sleep quality. Think a small handful of nuts, or a piece of whole grain toast with almond butter. Nothing heavy, just enough to stabilize things. Third, take your sleep temperature seriously. Your body needs to drop its core temperature to fall into deep sleep. Most people sleep in rooms that are too warm. Try dropping your thermostat to around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. It sounds small, but it has a real impact on how quickly you fall asleep and how much deep, restorative sleep you get. Fourth, address the anxiety spiral. For a lot of women, the reason they're not sleeping isn't the screen time or the temperature. It's the mental noise, the to-do lists, the worries, the mental replay of everything that happened that day. Journaling before bed, even just 5 minutes of brain dump writing, can significantly reduce sleep onset time. You're essentially offloading your brain onto the page so it doesn't have to keep processing while you try to fall asleep. These aren't complicated things, but they work. And when your sleep improves, you'll notice something shift, not just in your energy, but in your hunger levels, your cravings, your mood, and yes, eventually in your weight. Here's the bottom line. Your body is not your enemy. It's not broken. It's just responding to the conditions you're giving it. And if those conditions include chronic sleep deprivation, your body is going to protect itself the only way it knows how, by holding on to fat, cranking up hunger, and making every healthy choice feel like an uphill battle. You deserve better than that, and it starts tonight. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, how many hours of sleep are you actually getting most nights? Because I think a lot of us know we're not getting enough, but we haven't connected the dots to what it's actually doing to our bodies. And if you found this helpful, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We're going deep on the other hidden reasons weight loss stalls for women, things that have nothing to do with eating less or moving more. I'll see you in the next one.